Young men are going further and further to the right. Young men are becoming more extremist. Young men are starting to follow more extremist people. Young men like myself, young men like you watching. What is causing this? Why are young men in droves angry at the system? Why do they want change? Why do they want something different? Why do they want to go down a path which we have not yet followed? The answer actually isn't all that complicated. When you start to break down all the different things that young people have experienced, the issues that young people are facing while growing up, all of a sudden it starts to make sense why this younger generation is more extreme than those which came before it. And that's not a trend you typically see. While young people tend to be the more rebellious in nature, you don't typically see them going further to the right. Currently, we are seeing these young people going to church in higher rates than those generations who came before them. We are seeing them engage in more conservative action than those who came before them. Typically, you see the complete opposite of that. Typically, what you see is the older generations are those who hold on to the conservative ideals of the past, the conservative ideals which they grew up with. And you see the young people pushing further and further left. You see young people wanting more freedom, more expression. That's the typical trend, but not with us. But why? Why is this happening? There are a multitude of reasons why these young people are pushing further. It starts with social issues. All in all, that's what young people are being fed. We are all over the internet, and we are constantly being pumped with all of these problems which previous generations didn't see at such high quantities as we see due to our exposure through the internet. One of the major causes of these young people going specifically further to the right is we see a third of our generation is already dead, right? That's not normal. That's not something that any generation previously has had to experience. A third of our generation has been killed by abortion, and you expect us to grow up and not be angry at the system? You expect us to be okay with that? You expect us not to have significant pain in our hearts, knowing that a third of us already are dead? They didn't even make it out of the womb, didn't get a chance to prosper, didn't get a chance to do anything great. No, they were killed in the womb by their own parents. Yeah, that's evil. That is the epitome of evil. We have child sacrifice happening in mass droves, and you expect us not to go further to the right? It's absolutely insane. Another serious problem that young people in our generation face is porn addiction. It's prevalent everywhere. It's destroying relationships. It's debilitating. It's a terrible, terrible thing which is going on here. And we see that about 85% of young men and about, I believe it's 60% of young women openly are watching porn. That's not normal. That's, again, not something that previous generations dealt with. This porn addiction, it's a serious, serious problem. It's destroying the way that the sexes look at each other. It's destroying the way we view each other. It's destroying modern relationships. It's prevalent everywhere. Everything is becoming pornographized. I don't know a proper term for it, but that's what we're seeing. Porn, it's everywhere. It's a serious problem. In fact, it's such a serious problem that it is being compared to hardcore drugs. The effects it has on your brain because of neuroplasticity is similar to the effects of hardcore drugs. It's destroying our minds, completely raping our minds. It's completely evil. And another thing that is destroying the modern relationship is the sexual revolution. Through the sexual revolution, we have seen young women going out into the streets and becoming more sexually liberated, but all that means is they let more men hit. Really? I'm supposed to get a wife in this economy? When my options are 3 bodies or 10 bodies? No, that's not what I want. That's not what any of us want. And the same is happening with young men. They're sleeping around. There's so many whores out there, it's becoming easier and easier to be a whore as a man. You know, it used to be more of a respectable position. You know, is it always been wrong? Yes. But was it harder? Could you look at a guy who could get a lot of women and could you have some respect for him? Sure. But now all of a sudden, it's not so difficult anymore. These girls are willing to let anybody hit because it's liberating. How is it liberating to be treated as a product? That's all these women are. And they don't recognize that. They are trading they want affection, and to get that, they are trading their bodies. They're using their bodies as a product for affection, and it's disgusting, and that's another thing that was promoted by not just the sexual revolution, but the increase in pornography, which was backed by the sexual revolution. The two go hand in hand. And yeah, men are upset with that. Men don't want a wife anymore. Like, who are we supposed to marry? These girls are throwing themselves out there to everybody, and what, you're supposed to be the last guy? No, you don't want to be the last guy. The point of marriage is being the first. And even if it's not the first, at least be a reasonable number. That's all we're asking for, is reasonable. And we can't even get that in the modern world. It's absolutely terrible. Again, we are growing up in an education system which is saying that they hate us. We are growing up with movies that say that they hate us. We are growing up with music that says that they hate us. What are the top Billboard performers? What are the movies that go massively popular? What are these massive industries turning out? It's anti-white man propaganda. In the movies, they always make the white dad look like an absolute buffoon. In music, they demonize white guys. They make them sound evil. And in the education system itself, they are constantly attacking us. They hate us. They hate us deeply. And they expect us not to hate them back. We grew up in your schools. We grew up in your music. We grew up watching your movies, constantly told that you hate us, and we're supposed to sit back and say, yeah, we're evil. No, our generation doesn't do that. Our generation wants to take a stand. Our generation is through with that complete bullshit. Stop saying you hate us, and maybe there won't be so much resentment towards these groups if they weren't constantly attacking us. I mean, I remember going through the school system. I'm still in high school currently, and I remember plenty of teachers who have clearly had anti-white, anti-man agendas. It's terrible. I can confirm it's very real. As somebody that has experienced it, I can confirm it's incredibly real, and very few men are willing to stand up against it, and that's why it's so easy to push. To add on to all of this, we see the white population is decreasing. White replacement theory is no longer just a theory. We are seeing the white population consistently being replaced across all white nations. Europe, they are taking in an influx of immigrants which are committing serious crimes. I'll have you know, these people aren't the best of the best. We are not getting the best of the best. These people are coming from terrible countries, and they are doing terrible things. We're not getting the women and the children. We're getting criminals. And that's the truth of the matter. We are getting a lot of bad people. Are all immigrants evil? No. But the truth of the matter is, it needs to be halted until we can figure something else out, because what we are doing right now is not working. And we see the white population for the first time in the United States being the only population which is decreasing, and we are seeing people celebrate it. They are celebrating the replacement of our people. This is our country, this is our culture. You don't get to just replace us. No, we actually value ourselves all of a sudden. They promote anti-whiteness because they want you to hate yourself. They want you to hate yourself, and they want you to be okay with being hated, because all of a sudden they can replace you. That's the truth of the matter. They want to be able to replace you, and we're the generation that is going to put a halt to it. We're not okay with this. Massive reason why kids are going further and further to the far right is because they're being told that the far left hates them with a passion, literally wants to replace them, and celebrates it when it's being seen in live action. It's a terrible thing. And to add on to this, we are growing up in a completely broken economy. Currently, half of states are experiencing some form of recession. Many more are on the brink of recession. It's absolutely awful. And we see housing prices, they are absolutely skyrocketing. It's a giant dream for the young white man to ever be able to own property, and a dream that is seemingly unachievable. That's not something the boomers had to deal with. That's not something Gen X had to deal with. We are the first generation that it is truly an unachievable dream to ever be able to afford property. Sure, it was getting harder with the millennials, but not like it is for us. I mean, you need what, 500 grand to get a decent house? That's terrible. That's absolutely insane. I know I grew up in Colorado, so it's a little bit worse here than it is in some other states. But it's expensive. It's very, very ridiculously expensive, and just buying an apartment and living your entire life like that is the expectation of our generation. We see a 10.8% unemployment rate in young workers. That's double to triple that of previous generations when they were our age. We are being replaced by migrant workers because they are cheaper through bills like H-1B. It's terrible. And they expect us not to be upset about that. They expect us to just, sit back and live in our parents' basements our entire lives? Absolutely not. We will not be doing that. We want to make a difference in the world. We want to achieve something great. But no. How can we do that when you are constantly replacing us and people don't want to hire us because it's cheaper to get these immigrant workers? They don't care if they're worse at their jobs because guess what? An absolute dipshit can work at Walmart. You don't have to be intelligent. You don't have to be successful. So why hire a young kid? Why give them a start? You don't even have to be a genius. You don't have to be a genius to work at these tech firms. They can get the job done with these cheap migrant workers, so these young white people don't even get a chance in the field. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And to build on to all of this, our generation is the first to truly be able to recognize who is doing all of this to us. I'm going to give you guys a couple of names here. For one, with the economy, you have the breakdown starting with the Federal Reserve. Go look into the chairs of the Federal Reserve. Look into those people, right? Look into the housing prices. Who's causing it? A big proponent of it is BlackRock buying out all the property. Who owns BlackRock? Mr. Larry Fink. Moving on from that, we see with those social issues that I was talking about before, abortion. Margaret Sanger is the pioneer of abortion, the pioneer of Planned Parenthood, the pioneer of the sexual revolution. Who's her husband? Mr. William Sanger. Go look into William Sanger. I'm sure you'll be just shocked at what you find out about this guy. Moving on, we have porn, of course, led by Mr. Samuel Roth and Al Goldstein. Those are going to be your pioneers of the porn industry, and the list of names of people who are connected with them is astronomical. It's all of them. Go look into those two guys. Again, you'll be shocked at what you find. With the sexual revolution, we can go back with Planned Parenthood, the creation of the condom, or not the creation of the condom, but the mass spreading of the condom, and the idea that to be sexually free and to be liberated as a woman was through intercourse with whoever, whenever you want. Again, William Sanger, look into that guy, husband of Margaret Sanger. You also can look at second wave feminism. I'm going to give you a name, Betty Friedan, who is considered often to be the pioneer of second wave feminism, a group which disproportionately supported the sexual revolution. Go look into her. Go look into the people she worked with. Go look into all the people who had major influence in the sexual revolution and second wave feminism, and you'll find commonalities there. We look into the school system. Why do they act like they hate us so much? Why do they promote anti-whiteness so often? Why is there so much consistent degrading of white people, trying to villainize us? Well, who created it? Well, the General Education Board was created by Mr. John Rothschild, right? John Rothschild. Rothschild, that's a name you're going to want to look into. And Mr. John Rothschild, yeah, not a great guy, not a great people at all. And moving on from that, again, before I move on, I do want to point out, look into all of those names. I can't say any commonalities here on YouTube. Look into those names, and you're going to find something that all of these people have in common, and that's going to answer why specifically young people are going further to the far right direction. Why people are starting to promote extremism. Extremism is the best way to put it. Why? Look into the commonality between all of those names I just gave you. And it doesn't stop with just those industries. I mean, look into Hollywood. Look into who created Hollywood. Look into who owns all of the major music industry. All of a sudden, things start to check out. The puzzle pieces they're putting together, they fit. If the glove fits, right? If the glove fits. Moving on from all of that, we feel that we don't have actual influence in our political system, despite the fact that we are a democratic republic. many individuals have the feel that their vote doesn't matter, and no matter who they vote for, they're going to promote the same people, and we can put together why that is pretty simply. AIPAC is buying out all of the politicians, not just on the Republican side, but on the Democratic side as well. AIPAC is a a bipartisan organization. They're buying out the politicians on both sides. It doesn't matter who you vote for, they are going to promote the same things just because of where they come from. AIPAC, look into their history, look into what has happened to people who have gone against them. Look into Mr. John F. Kennedy. Look at what he was doing before he was assassinated. And look into his assassination as well. Look into Mr. Oswald, and more specifically, look into the man who killed Oswald. Look into Mr. Jack Ruby, also known as Jack Rubenstein. Well. Right? Well. So AIPAC, they're controlling everything. They control our politicians, and people really don't like this. And why do they not like this? Well, Israel has a history of being a poor ally to the United States. We can look at the USS Liberty incident for one example of that. With the USS Liberty, Israel attacks an American boat, sinks it, kills over 100 American sailors. And everybody on that boat conclusively agrees that Israel, there's zero way they didn't know it was an American boat, despite what they despite what they promote. They promote that they didn't know it was an American, but a lot of evidence shows otherwise. You can look at other major historical events that, again, I can't talk about on here. Go look at my Twitter. I don't know. Go look at my free speech stuff. It's phenomenal. It's very, very funny. The funniest stuff on the internet. But go look at my Rumble. All the good stuff. But again, look into other historical events. Look at major attacks in the United States. Look into more details behind those, and it's like, whoa, slow down here. Things aren't checking out, and look at who was behind that, right? It all makes sense to you eventually, I promise. You just gotta dig the rabbit hole deep enough. And if you find my tiny little channel, I'm sure you're deep enough in the rabbit hole to already know. Also, people are starting to hate Israel significantly now because of the Palestine issue. With Palestine, potential genocide, the UN seems to think it's a genocide. All the evidence seems to point towards they are genociding the Palestinian people. It's evil. You know what we want? You know the far-right extremists, these young people who are just losing their minds want? They want peace. We are tired of death. We are tired of forever wars. We are tired of promoting evil. One of the things we don't like is a genocide of a people. It's completely evil. And of course, people are going to start waking up to all of this stuff when Israel's true colors are exposed by them going after the Palestinian people. It's something that's been going on for a very, very long time now, but all of a sudden it's in the spotlight. Yeah, of course people are going to start to hate this country. It's no surprise, really. So when you put all these things together, it's no shocker that young men are starting to go disproportionately further and further to the right. It all makes sense. I mean, you have all these terrible things which have been inflicted upon our generation. You have completely openness about who created all of it. You have an influx of information coming in. I mean, our generation has shown more problems than any other. I mean, they had the newspaper, but we have the World Wide Web. We can see anything from any point of history at any time from any perspective. It's all out there. You just have to know where to look, and you can find literally anything from the good to the bad. It's all there. All of it's there. So, of course, our generation is going to be more and more extreme than the others because of just the problems that we're shown. We are shown more evil than anybody else has ever had to deal with in American history, so it checks out. But the truth of the matter is, you know, they want us to feel weak, they want us to feel small, they want to keep us distracted. You know, you can look at Instagram Reels all day and you can watch, and you can feel like you're taking in information, but really they're just killing your brain, and they know what you enjoy and what makes you feel like you're learning, so they promote that, so all of a sudden they can kill your brain. They want to get the people who would typically avoid that type of content engaging in that type of content. Absolutely melt you. Fry your brain cells so that you feel like you're taking action without taking any at all. And it feels hopeless at times, but the truth is, There's a lot of us out there. There are a lot of young men fed up with the system. And it's within us. It's within us to do something great, and we just have to come together, and we have to stop being so afraid. You can't be so afraid of being canceled. You can't be so afraid of people disliking you, because the truth is, every great man in history was hated, and every great man in history had to overcome that. Jesus Christ. John 15:18, Christ states, if they hate you, remember they hated me first, and that's something we all have to live by. Because we can't be afraid anymore. We have to take the matter into our own hands. Because in all reality, the spark, the flame, it's within us. We have the power here. We have every ability to do something great, and we just have to ignite the flame. And we have to let it burn, and we have to hold it. And we cannot let it out of our sights. Because the minute it goes out of our sights and the minute we let this spark die, nothing happens. And that's been the biggest issue in history. Nothing ever happens, does it? Nothing ever happens. We're done with that. We're the generation that's going to make something happen. We're the generation that cares. We are the generation who will keep the flame lit.